Everyone, we're going to go ahead and start our study session, and we have one presentation on the agenda, and that's going to be with City Manager Stephen Weaver.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you. Tonight I will be providing an update on several initiatives that we have underway that are related to unsheltered individuals in our community. A little background, prior to the adoption of the city camping ordinance last year, a collaborative group of local nonprofit organizations and city representatives began meeting to discuss public education, outreach efforts, and strategies to support unsheltered individuals affected by the proposed ordinance. This collaboration became known as the Unsheltered Persons Action Group, UPAG. Participating organizations included the City of Casa Grande, including the Police Department, Laundry of Love, Transitional Living Center, Casa Grande Alliance, Community Bridges, CARA, CHIPS, Horizon Healthcare, St. Vincent de Paul, and Seeds of Hope. Initially, the group met bi-weekly, and now we're meeting monthly. While many organizations were already providing valuable services to the unsheltered individuals, there was limited coordination among service providers. As a result, agencies often lacked visibility into the services being provided by other organizations to the same individual. To improve communication and coordination, the group researched several case management and tracking systems and determined that Charity Tractor was the most effective and cost-efficient option. The city subsequently purchased the software, which included unlimited users, access for participating organizations. The system has significantly improved coordination by allowing service providers to track assistance provided and identify gaps in services. The group's next priority was identifying a location where individuals experiencing homelessness could stay without violating the city's camping ordinance. One concept explored was the development of a transitional housing outdoor space. Over several months, the group evaluated multiple properties and visited similar facilities in Tucson and Phoenix. While a potential site was identified, significant infrastructure challenges existed, including the need to extend utilities to the property. Estimating operating costs range from $300,000 to $600,000 annually, in addition to the substantial upfront development costs. Given these projected expenses, the group began evaluating alternative approaches, including hotel-based transitional housing. Staff contacted several hotels near the downtown area regarding long-term room availability. Most proposals averaged about $70 per night. However, the Boots and Saddle Hotel offered a significantly more affordable option by providing 5 rooms for a full year at a total cost of $54,000. As a result, staff is recommending a 1-year pilot program utilizing these hotel rooms as transitional housing. While the program initially includes only 5 rooms, it provides an opportunity to evaluate effectiveness and on a manageable scale before considering future expansion. The program is designed for individuals who demonstrate a commitment to transitioning out of homelessness. Participants will be expected to actively work toward goals such as securing employment, participating in substance use recovery programs, addressing mental health issues, and achieving other measurable milestones that support long-term stability. Participants who are unwilling to engage in services or who are not making progress toward established goals may be replaced by individuals who are prepared to actively participate. The anticipated length of stay is approximately 90 days, although extensions may be considered for participants who continue to demonstrate meaningful progress toward self-sufficiency. Recognizing that the effective case management is critical to the success of this initiative, the city invited nonprofit partners to submit letters of interest outlining how they would administer the program and provide participant services. The city received proposals from CHIPS, CARA, and Horizon Healthcare. After reviewing the submissions, staff determined that Horizon Healthcare is best positioned to administer the program. In addition to presenting a strong service model, Horizon proposed the lowest administrative cost of $7,500 for the entire year. Whilst Horizon Healthcare will serve as the lead case management agency and primary point of contact for the participants, this initiative will remain a collaborative effort involving multiple nonprofit and community partners. The city will enter into 2 separate agreements to support implementation of the pilot program. The first is a memorandum of understanding with Horizon Healthcare for administrative oversight and case management services. Under this agreement, Horizon Healthcare will establish and manage program workflows, intake procedures, and service delivery models, provide case management services to the participants, coordinate with community services providers, behavioral health organizations, and support networks, manage placement into available hotel units and maximize occupancy, coordinate hotel and vendor operations, and provide regular program reporting and updates to the city. The second agreement will be with Boots and Saddle for the lodging services. Hotel costs will be billed monthly throughout the pilot period. The city will provide funding for hotel accommodations and will continue working collaboratively with Horizon Healthcare to ensure the program remains aligned with its intended goals and objectives. In addition, the city has applied for all available tribal grant funding opportunities to help support these and future homeless-related initiatives. Staff anticipates launching the program as soon as the agreements are finalized, with implementation expected within the next week. This initiative will operate as a 1-year pilot program. Staff will provide periodic updates to the council regarding participation levels, program outcomes, and overall performance. Prior to considering any extension beyond the pilot year, staff will return to council with a comprehensive evaluation of the program's effectiveness and recommendations for future action. While we recognize that no single initiative will completely resolve homelessness within our community, outreach efforts have shown that many individuals are seeking assistance and are willing to engage in services. For those individuals, we believe this program provides a meaningful opportunity to achieve greater stability and independence. Each month, our nonprofit partners share success stories involving individuals and families who have received assistance and avoided homelessness. This pilot program is intended to build upon those successes through a more coordinated, collaborative, and supportive approach. In addition to the transitional housing initiative, staff has been working to expand access to hydration and cooling resources throughout the community. The city has ordered signage that will be placed at participating locations to identify sites where individuals can obtain water and access to air conditioning space during business hours. Currently, there are 13 locations within the city limits that are participating in this effort. Most locations are available from 8 to 5, Monday through Saturday. The public libraries and CHIPS, our extended hours, remain open till 7 p.m. Through our assessment, we identified a service gap between the hours of 7 p.m. and 10 p.m., a period when temperatures often remain high. To address this need, staff is exploring the possibility of opening of Lincola Recreation Center as an evening hydration and cooling station from 6:30 to 10 p.m. daily during the summer months until the end of September. We have discussed this concept with the Boys and Girls Clubs, and they have expressed support for this proposal. Staff is currently working to identify operational staffing needs, and once those are addressed, we anticipate moving forward with implementation. So with that, Mayor and Council, I'm here to answer any questions.
Sure.
I believe you said the Boots and Saddle, is it 54,000 you said?
Yep.
For the year, right?
Yes.
And then Horizon Services would be 7,500, right?
Yes.
Correct. And the local owner or person that owns that property, they're going to help us to manage that?
Yes.
Okay. Then the other question I have too, I know they have a little bit more land. Are they just offering just the 5 housing areas, or will we be able to do anything? Homeless person comes on the property, stand outside by the fence, are they able to do that?
Councilman Edwards, yeah, right now it's just the 5 rooms. We have the opportunity, if we want to put more money toward it, or if we get other grants where we could expand that. She has the ability to make more rooms available besides the 5, but right now it's just the 5 rooms.
Okay.
No, nothing outside
Nothing
of
outside
that.
of it. Okay.
But they do have a common area out
They do.
in the middle of the property that has, couches and a TV and
Right.
like a stove
Stove,
and
microwave.
so if people, they do have access to that.
Okay, so
the
she'll be
people that are
okay
staying
with
there.
them?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's just for the people that are staying there, though?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
You mean for more like group settings where you can have almost like
Yeah,
something in the middle?
because see, once the word gets out, you have the 5 people
Oh,
or individuals
yeah.
that stand there, but word is out there, and sometimes that language is told, no, we can go there, anybody can go there.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
yeah, no,
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I brought it up.
yeah.
Because, there's probably going to be someone that's going to come over there, who want to stay outside.
And I
Yeah,
think that's a good point, and
yes.
we've talked to, and I just really quick, Matt, before you go, just,
problem.
thank you to Stephen
Yeah.
and everyone that's been involved in this. As you guys know, these are concerns that have been coming up for years, and we've been trying different programs. And so we know this isn't going to solve homelessness, but this is a way for, us to start, that transition. So in order for someone to be part of this program, they are going to have to sign an agreement that they're going to follow the rules and, sign up for case management. And that case management can be through several different agencies, but there's probably be a key agency that's going to handle that individual. Horizon is the one that's going to administer it,
Right.
but it could be Cara that is one of their candidates, so-called candidates, that would qualify and be a good candidate to participate in this, or it could be CHIP, or it could be, Seeds of Hope, or whoever it is, but they have to sign on to participating in this, everything that's required. So, so there won't be outside people coming in. Joanna, that owns the hotel, she's kind of a tough,
Yeah, she's tough.
she's, really good at monitoring that. She is going to allow couples. She will allow dogs. She's really open to trying to work. She works, with the unsheltered population, and so she's really trying to work with these individuals to get them out of homelessness. So she's been, really open to, one of the questions that also came up was, disable or handicap accessibility.
Yes.
Her rooms are not handicap accessible, but we have talked to another.
Siegel Suites.
Siegel Suites. So if we did have someone that was handicapped, then we do have an option to go to Siegel Suites for, if there is someone that does require that.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure we address that too.
And I get it, it's a pilot program, and,
Yes.
and we want the citizens to know we're trying our best to do what we can, and we know there's going to be a little cost to it. But we are trying our best to help them out as best as we can, even with the cooling stations as well. I know I said on Faith Alliance, and we didn't want to try to invent the wheel again if we got cooling stations going on. But what we want to do is come alongside as well, just like Seeds of Hope is doing, Horizon is doing. And so always remember that too. Even with that property, with the Faith Alliance, be willing to work with you all as well.
Yes, thank you. And we were really hoping that, that part of that UPAC group, with the church community did come up, because if we are going to have these cooling stations in the evening, if a church wants to go and drop off sandwiches or, bring, there's going to be water,
Right.
Cara is the cooling station coordinator for Casa Grande, so they are providing water at all these sites. But if there is someone that wanted to go and drop water or whatever, then water, food or whatever it is, they, they can definitely do that.
Yeah.
So we're going to work with Faith Alliance
Okay, perfect.
on that. So, thank you, Stephen, though. Okay, Matt.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate what Anthony said, especially about, we've looked at a lot of these figures and numbers, and this is a good starting place to see what kind of programs are going to work and if we can work. I know something can work because it works in other communities, and I'm glad you're doing it. The other thing I was thinking about was the cooling stations, and the Lencola one's very interesting to me, which I think is a great idea. But I was wondering, if we're gonna be there, and I'm throwing this out, but maybe if the gym could be open like for kids too at night, so they could be cool and have something to do. I don't know if that's, I know that wasn't part of the original plan, but I don't know how much more that would cost or stuff, but if you could look into that maybe, because maybe kids want something to do at night over there and it's hot outside, so they could play basketball inside or something, or volleyball.
Yeah, something we can look at. Yeah, our other option was that CHIPS is asked if we could use their building there too, if
Right.
that's another option
Oh, okay.
instead of even using Lencola. But they will be part-time city employees working that.
Right.
So I know it's a lot different when you get kids and use
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and especially when you,
Yeah.
because I think that the space is going to be in the gym.
Oh, is
isn't
it? Okay.
Yeah, the
Well-
space will be in
Okay.
the gym,
Well, that's fine. then,
but,
I was just thinking.
but there might be somewhere else
Yeah.
that we look at for the gym activities. Question? Sure, Bob.
Just a comment, I think it's a wonderful first shot at this issue. I think it's undoubtedly that there's going to be challenges.
Yes.
And I hope the public understands that we know that. You've gathered a good group, a good coalition to address those, and I think that group is completely capable. Is Angel?
Yes.
Is
He's
he
part of the
still
group.
part of
Yes.
the group? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, he is.
All right.
Got a quick question. How, you 5 rooms, 90 days, who's going to be is there going to be a board appointed to actually see who's the best candidates for those rooms right out the front? Because there's a lot of different, charities that are working with these people, and who's going to be selecting actually the best candidates for the rooms, especially when we first start up?
Ultimately, Horizon will make that determination.
Horizon, would they have
Yeah.
a board or something and just kind of look at everything?
Yeah, they
or-
have a group of people that
And they'll
would
just kind of
review
vote on
these, but
George or whatever?
But they'll have recommendations from these other nonprofits that will be submitting names and saying these would be good candidates.
But they might have about 50 candidates.
Oh,
right
yeah,
off the
no,
gate,
we're-
so who's going
Yeah.
to take those 50 and go number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
And that's why I want to stress the fact that if people are not moving on that road to trying to get out, that they may be replaced with others. So that could be a revolving door for some of those individuals.
So if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, they
Yeah.
sign their contract or whatever, they
Yes.
can be bumped.
That's right.
Okay.
Sean, and all these agencies already work so close together.
I know, they do, but there's
they,
so many
they really
good-
do. Like, we're in
there's so
these
many good
meetings,
qualifying
and they all
people.
know who they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, there's so many qualifying people.
Yes.
Who's going to,
Yes.
that's what I figured, like, if
Yeah.
there's a bunch out there, how are they going to
I
narrow
think
down to?
I think you'll be surprised how many aren't willing to go into something like this.
I believe
But
that.
that's why I think starting small, and we know because we did the iHelp program.
Yeah.
And, that was that overnight program that people didn't even want to go and spend one night because of the rules. And so, I think, we will be surprised how many people, aren't willing to. But we're hoping, it's a start. So why, open a whole transitional living center when you're
Yeah.
only going to have 3 people?
Yeah,
you
and I'm
know,
glad they're
so-
allowing dogs in there too, because I know that that's been a problem in the past is people, I can't go there with my dog, so that's awesome that they're doing that for them.
Right, right. Yeah. Any other questions or comments?
I think it's a great starting point.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a lot of thought was put into it, and so I do appreciate that.
No, and again, it's with these agencies. We pulled them in at the very beginning, and Stephen's just been on top of it and communicating with all of them. And, then and of course, we're getting people that come to the meetings and are concerned about with the heat right now, where are people going? And so we're just trying to, see where we are with services, fill the gaps. We're not going to have an overnight shelter, unfortunately, right away. So at least we can get people cooled until 10 p.m. and then, and then in the mornings things open up again. So,
I think it's a great start.
Yeah.
You mentioned couples, but what if they have kids? Is that allowed if they have children, or what does that look like for those families that maybe are experience homelessness right
Yeah,
now?
I think the hotels I think most of those are like queen.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're only like
so-
queen-size beds
They
in
are.
there, so, unless they allow them to sleep on the floor or
Get some
something like
cots
that.
or something, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It has been a concern, though. I mean, it's
Yeah.
been brought up in
Yeah.
that group, because there's more and more families that are homeless. So, yeah, I know. Good question. Okay, anything else? Okay, no? Okay. Thank you, Stephen and Larry and everyone for this. And then, so Stephen, what happens next? You said the MOUs and everything.
Yeah,
that's
once we get the
just-
MOUs in place with Horizon and with Boots and Saddle, and then, once we get, everything ready, we'll try to do the link COLA as quick as we can.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the council will have to take action on the
We
Boots and
will.
Saddle since it's over 50,000.
Okay.
So that will come back.
Okay. Okay, there's no more questions?
No,
Okay,
awesome
we'll go
job,
ahead
guys.
and close the study session then, and close the study session, and we have just 10 minutes for the next meeting, so we're going to take a break. Turn my microphone. Is this your slow time right now? Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and start our Copper Mountain Ranch Community Facilities District Board meeting. First item on the agenda is the roll call. And so, Adriana, can you please accept for the record that member Brent Badillon is not here?
So noted.
Okay. So next item are the minutes.
Chairman Fitzgibbons, I move to consider the minutes from the May 18th, 2026 Copper Mountain Ranch Community Facilities District meeting as presented.
Second?
Okay, there's been a motion and a second on the minutes. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next item is the new business. It's, this, we'll go ahead and Brenda, if you, this is a public hearing, but we'll go ahead and start with you here. Thank you.
In accordance with Arizona revised statutes, Copper Mountain Ranch Community Facilities District Board must conduct a public hearing regarding the Copper Mountain Ranch proposed budget fiscal year 26-27 and the proposed property tax levy. Staff recommends that after the public hearing, the board adopt a resolution establishing the fiscal year 26-27 final expenditure budget of $20,006,000, which is the same amount as was set forth in the district's tentative budget adopted by the board on May 18th, 2026. This amount includes all costs attributable to the operation and maintenance expenses of the district and is specifically designed to provide for the possible issuance of debt, provide for the payment of expenditures of the district, and to establish program reserves. Expenditures of the district for fiscal year 26-27 are intended to be paid by property taxes and the possible issuance of debt, which would require a separate action of the board. On June 15, 2026, the board will be asked to approve a resolution adopting the tax levy with a property tax rate of 0.30 cents per $100 for a total levy amount of $2,596 for the district. This tax only includes an operational component of the 30 cents, as there is not currently any outstanding debt. The proposed tax levy resolution will be considered on June 15th and will adopt the secondary property tax rate and direct Pinal County to collect the corresponding estimated tax levy and adjust the estimated levy if necessary. With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, no questions, but this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone that would like to come up and discuss this with the board. Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and if we can get a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 106, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Copper Mountain Ranch Community Facilities District, Casa Grande, Arizona, adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2026 to 2027.
Chair Fitzgibbons, I move to approve resolution number 106 as presented.
Second?
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Oh, do we have to do roll call?
We generally do a roll call vote because it is a resolution.
Okay, got it. That's true. Okay, sorry about that. Roll call vote, please.
Member Rummel?
Yes.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Edwards?
Yes.
Member Huddleston?
Yes.
Member Herman?
Yes.
Chairman Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn the Copper Mountain Ranch District Board meeting. And the next one, we're going to go ahead and call to order the Mission Royale Community Facilities District Board meeting. And Adriana, if you can please excuse Member Badillon.
So noted.
Okay, next item are the minutes.
Chairman Fitzgibbons, I move to consider the minutes of the Mission Royale Community Facilities District Board meeting of May 18th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. New business. Go ahead, Brenda.
Madam Chair, members of the board, in accordance with Arizona revised statutes, Mission Royale Community Facilities District Board must conduct a public hearing regarding the Mission Royale fiscal year 26-27 proposed budget and proposed property tax levy. Staff recommends that after the public hearing, the board adopt a resolution establishing the final fiscal year 26-27 expenditure budget of $1,572,066, which is the same amount as set forth in the district's tentative budget that was adopted on May 18th, 2026. This amount includes all costs attributable to the operation and maintenance of the district and payment of debt service, providing for the payment of the expenditures of the district and to establish program revenues. Expenditures of the district include operation and maintenance and debt service, principal and interest, and that are intended to be paid by secondary property tax revenues. On June 15th, 2026, the board will be asked to approve a resolution adopting the tax levy at property tax rate of 1.0488 per $100 of total assessed value for a total levy amount of $500,470 for the district. This tax includes an operational component of 0.30 cents and a general obligation bond debt service component of 0.7488. The proposed tax levy resolution to be considered on June 15th will adopt the secondary tax rate and direct Pinal County to collect the corresponding estimated tax levy and adjust the estimated levy if necessary. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. No questions, so I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that has any questions? Okay, I will go ahead and close the public hearing, and if we can get a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 84, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Mission Royale Community Facilities District, Casa Grande, Arizona, adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2026 to 2027.
Chairman Fitzgibbons, I move that we will approve resolution number 84 as presented.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hey, Adriana, if we can get a roll call vote?
Member Romo?
Yes.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Huddleston?
Yes.
Member Edwards?
Yes.
Member Herman?
Yes.
Chairman Fitzgibbons?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn the Mission Royale. And I'll go ahead and call to order the Post Ranch Community Facilities District Board meeting. If you can please accept for the record and excuse Member Badillon.
So noted.
Okay, next item are the minutes.
Chairman Fitzgibbons, I can move to consider the minutes of the Post Ranch Community Facilities District Board meeting of May 18th, 2026 as presented.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, next item is item D1, and Brenda.
Madam Chair, members of the board, in accordance with Arizona Revised Statutes, Post Ranch Community Facilities District Board must conduct a public hearing regarding the Post Ranch fiscal year 26-27 proposed budget and the proposed property tax levy. Staff recommends that after the public hearing, the board adopt a resolution establishing the FY 26-27 final expenditure budget of $20,001,700, which is the same amount as was set forth in the district's tentative budget adoption on May 18th, 2026. This amount includes all costs attributable to the operation and maintenance expenses of the district and is specifically designed to provide for the possible issuance of debt, provide for the payment of the expenditures of the district, and to establish program reserves. Expenditures of the district for fiscal year 26-27 are intended to be paid for by property tax and the possible issuance of debt, which would require a separate action by the board. On June 15th, 2026, the board will be asked to adopt a resolution, approve a resolution adopting the tax levy with a property tax rate of 0.30 cents per $100 of assessed valuation for a total levy amount of $291 for the district. This tax only includes an operational component as there is not currently any outstanding debt. The proposed tax levy resolution to be considered on June 15th will adopt the secondary property tax levy and direct Pinal County to collect the corresponding estimated tax levy and adjust the estimated levy if necessary. With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, any questions?
Nope.
Okay, no questions. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this item? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And Adriana, if we can get a resolution number.
Resolution number 63, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Post Ranch Community Facilities District, Casa Grande, Arizona, adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2026 to 2027.
Chairman Fitzgibbons, I move to approve resolution number 63 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Member Romo?
Yes.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Edwards?
Yes.
Member Huddleston?
Yes.
Member Herman?
Yes.
Chairman Fitzgibbons?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn the Post Ranch Facilities District Board. And I will go ahead and call to order the Valago Community Facilities District Board meeting. And if you can please accept for the record and excuse Member Badillon.
So noted.
Thank you. The first item is the the minutes, I'm sorry.
Chairman Fitzgibbons, I move to consider the minutes of the Valago Community Facilities District Board meeting of May 18th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next item is new business, item D1. And Brenda?
Madam Chair, members of the board, in accordance with Arizona Revised Statutes, Valago Community Facilities District Board must conduct a public hearing regarding the Valago fiscal year 26-27 proposed budget and proposed property tax levy. Staff recommends that after the public hearing, the board adopt a resolution establishing the fiscal year 26-27 final expenditure budget of $288,600, which is the same amount as set forth in the district's tentative budget adopted on May 18th, 2026. This amount includes all costs attributable to the operation and maintenance expenditures of the district and payment of debt service and establishing program reserves. Expenditures of the district include operation and maintenance and debt service principal and interest payments for fiscal year 26-27 and are proposed to be paid out of secondary property tax revenues. On June 15th, 2026, the board will be asked to approve a resolution adopting the tax levy with a property tax rate of 1.0565 per $100 of assessed valuation for a total levy amount of $262,700 for the district. This tax includes an operational component of 0.30 and a general obligation debt service component of 0.7565. The proposed tax levy resolution to be considered on June 15th will adopt the secondary property tax rate and direct Pinell County to collect the corresponding estimated tax levy and adjust the estimated levy if necessary. With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, any questions? Okay, no questions. This is a public hearing. Are there any questions? Is there anyone that would like to come up and speak on this item? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and if we can get a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 79, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Valago Community Facilities District, Casa Grande, Arizona, adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2026 to 2027.
Chairman Fitzgibbons, I move to approve resolution number 79.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If we can get a roll call vote, please.
Member Romo?
Yes.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Edwards?
Yes.
Member Huddleston?
Yes.
Member Herman?
Yes.
Chairman Fitzgibbons?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn the Valago meeting, and we'll resume the regular council meeting at 7 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and start our council meeting. We'll start with the invocation, and that's going to be by Pastor Jeff from Crossroads Church. So if everyone can stand, if you're willing and able, and following the invocation will be the Pledge of Allegiance from Mayor Pro Tem Badillan.
So as said by our mayor, I'm a care pastor at Crossroads Church and blessed to be part of this evening. I've titled this Today's Accomplishment. It's kind of a long prayer, but bear with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for every seat that has filled here today, for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room. We thank you. Only you truly know what this board is setting out to accomplish today. Pray this board has fresh ideas, visions, hints, and daily instructions. They have many talents, abilities, and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning, every project, every season, every life. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Your righteousness transcends all our efforts and understanding. Forgive us for our pride, the pride that puffs one up, and the pride that threatens to unqualify a body. Strengthen their confidence in who you have made them to be. Set them free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. Bless this meeting today. All those present, as well as the lives of this board, will encounter afterwards. Ready them to make every moment count. We thank you, God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Brent. Okay, next item is the roll call. Adriana, if you can please accept for the record that all the council members are here.
So noted.
Thank you. And next item are the minutes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move to consider the minutes of the City Council study session meeting of May 18th, 2026, the minutes of the City Council regular meeting of May 18th, 2026, the Airport Advisory Board meeting of September 23rd, 25, the Airport Advisory Board meeting of October 28th, 2025, and the minutes of the Youth Commission meeting of May 16th, 2026.
Second?
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the minutes? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next are the claims against the city.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move that we accept the list of claims report for May 13, 2026 through May 26, 2026.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the claims, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next is the meeting agenda approval. Any changes to the meeting agenda?
Yes, Madam Mayor. One technical change, if council would consider item K2 prior to K1.
Okay,
And we do have an executive session scheduled this evening as well, if you'd like to make reports.
okay.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move that we move K2 and ahead of K1 on the agenda, and also move the reports to before the executive session.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have a special presentation. Wow, we have a lot of people here for that. So I'll go ahead and come down, and if we can get Andrew Leary to step up from our fire department. All right. So everyone, tonight we're recognizing and honoring Andrew Leary, who is retiring from the City of Casa Grande's Fire Department after more than 22 years of service. You probably had less gray hair back then, right? Just a little bit, huh? Andrew actually began his career with the city in 1998 when he was hired into our part-time paid-on-call group, which existed prior to our moving to a fully career department. He became a full-time firefighter with the department in 2003. Andrew was certified as a paramedic in 2005, and in 2007, he was promoted to fire engineer. Andrew, on behalf of myself, my fellow council members, the city of Casa Grande, and the citizens whom you served for over the past 22 years, congratulations on your retirement, and all the best to you and your family.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you for your service,
So, and thank you all for coming to support Andrew. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item are, let's see, the consent agenda. So, all items listed with an asterisk are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion and one roll call vote of the council. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or member of the public so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to pull off anything from the consent agenda? Any council members, staff, or members of the public? Okay. We can get a motion to approve.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Adriana, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dillon?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, this is the section for public comments. So the Casa Grande City Council values citizen input. So when called, if you submitted a speaker card, please state your name and address, speak clearly into the microphone, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. In fairness to all our speakers, please do not exceed your time. In accordance with the law, the City Council cannot respond to or discuss items not listed on the agenda, but may direct them to staff upon conclusion of all public comments. So I do have 2 speaker cards, but if there's anyone else that would like to speak, you're more than welcome to come up and speak. So I'll go ahead and start with these 2 speakers. The first is Barbara Sundust.
My name is Barbara Sundust, and I live at 1273 East Cordova Avenue, Casa Grande. I'm here again to make 2 very important pleas. I know work is being done to find cooling stations with extended hours until 10 o'clock. For now, that seems okay. We're pretty blessed that temperatures are not too much into the 100s, and cooling at night goes down to the 80s. We know that will not last. Where are people to go after 10 o'clock and it's still in the 100s, 90s, humid, monsoons, rain? What's then for the homeless who have no place to go or who are living in their cars that stay hot forever? So my plea is a cooling place that will be open from 10 p.m. until 6:30 a.m. My second plea is for reasonable rent for elderly women who have no place to go. What we need is like a large house with 4 or 5 bedrooms and common areas where these women can live until there are affordable housing apartments built for them. The ones I have spoken to would be willing to pay something like $400 or $500 a month that, according to their social security or whatever. I love Casa Grande, and I know many people who have lived here for their whole lives, or like me, 30 or 40 years. We know the community, caring families. Oh my gosh, I'm going. They are the people who so generously support organizations like CHIP, Seeds of Hope, Rick and his Recycling, St. Vincent de Paul, and yes, Laundry Love. So the people, I just feel like the people who are part of Casa Grande really do try to help, and that's a wonderful thing to me. My fear is that people who come here for better housing circumstances, and maybe it's better to live more affordable here than someplace else, or it's less hectic here than in some other city, and they just want to have their homes, their pickleball courts, and their comfortable living, and not see the needs of our whole community. There are many caring people, and I'm grateful, but I again plead with all the old and new residents of Casa Grande to step up and help the homeless and elderly, especially the elderly women. Maybe you could reach out to your city council people and offer services, money to help the less fortunate in our city. We need to care about all of us. Again, my plea is for affordable housing, especially for elderly women, and a cool place to sleep from 10 until 6:30, and I have 17 seconds left. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, the next speaker card I have is Peter Encinas.
Peter Encinas, 700 East Rodeo Road. Madam Mayor, Council, staff, those in attendance, everybody watching online, I wanted to take this time to officially announce that I will be joining the running as a candidate for council member for Casa Grande for 2026. I've submitted all the paperwork I need. My wife and I were brought to this city through prayer. It's a long, great story we don't have time for right now. October, 5 years that we've been here. And in those 5 years, we've moved 3 times. And every time that we've moved, we want to run back to Chandler. That's where we're from. That's where our family is. That's where we grew up, and everything we know is there. And every time the Lord has told us no. And the interesting part is that when we sought the Lord about why, this is where it gets real interesting, that every time he said, Casa Grande is where it's at. It's where it's at. Now, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, this city has it. And if it's coming from him, it's good. So that really gets me excited on what's going on. I believe the hand of God is in this city, and that's an amazing thing. And so my wife and I have come to the conclusion with all that Casa Grande is our home, and it's time to start setting roots in this city. And I know all you guys have complete roots here. All you guys are from here, right? So our roots are here, and I believe that this is the next important and major step in developing a relationship with the people, the communities, and the city itself is getting involved. When a year and a half ago, when I was again in prayer, you hear me talk a lot about Jesus and the Bible. I'm a preacher. We're missionaries. I'm an evangelist. So I'm always talking about the Lord and the Bible, and I pray a lot. We pray in the Bible says in all things seek Christ. So it was he who told me to get involved. He said, get involved. You're going to make a difference. And so a year and a half ago, you guys started seeing me here, coming to the meetings, coming to the events. I went and completed the Leadership Academy, all for the purpose of what he's called me to do. And I think this is the next, like I said, the next best step to lead this community with a great leadership that's already on there. So I wanted to announce that. Unfortunately, I have a challenge. I was battling some health issues. December, January, February, March, I was in the hospital. I missed the deadline for the signatures and whatnot. But I did find out I could be a write-in, so I have a challenge where my name will have to be written in, but I'm still in it. I turned the paperwork in, and my motto is safety first. That's when I run on safety first. I believe that a safe city is a great city. And so I want to stand on that promise that we want to keep the city safe, and it's going to be the foundation of what I speak on is safety first. I basically am ready to get going on this, and we'll see what happens. I know there's other candidates in there, and Councilmember Huddleston, real quick, I know you're the one stepping back, and I'd love to say you're thrown in the towel, but that's further from the truth. You've done so much in this community for all the years of service that you're going out of here a winner from this council. So I know to take your seat is just going to be an amazing thing, and hopefully I can be there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak? Sure, come on up, Richard.
Hello, I'm Richard Cunningham, 450 West Sun West, Lot 280. And I am also so I'm one of the pastors at Calvary Chapel Church here in Casa Grande. I'm also the founder and executive director of CHIP, or Catalyst Helping to Increase Potential. And I just want to say thank you to the City Council, the Mayor, Steve and Larry as well, for putting through some of the things that we're doing for the homeless as well. I mean, we're really reaching out there, and it's really awesome. I'm sorry I missed the meeting at 6 o'clock. I was a little confused on that. But I understand that was a good meeting. We're moving forward. We have a place that will be able to, Boots and Saddle, that will be able to house 5 people at a time. We're hoping to put people through in a transitional program that will not just house them, but give them all the skills they need. And if they have any other issues, we can work on those together with them to get them up to a point of self-sufficiency. So I just wanted to commend the City Council, the Mayor, Steve and Larry, and everybody else that was involved in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Is there anyone else? Hi, come on up.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. This is my first meeting here, and I'm not sure if this is perhaps the appropriate forum to express my comments and perhaps pose a question for the council. My name is Luis Valencia. My address, do I need to state my address? I'd rather not.
You live in Casa Grande?
Yes, I live in
Okay.
Casa Grande. I've lived here for just about a year.
Okay.
I'm consistently impressed with the infrastructure, with I see a lot of economic potential here, and I see that we recently acquired a plot of land around the city, and I want to pose the question on what plans for the expansion of the infrastructure are there, and if perhaps any of the council members might be able to comment to that. Any proposed tax increases, any plans for the economic city plan to see what expenses were factored in. I'm not sure if the acquisition was projected back then when the city plan was created. I believe there's a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan, right? And then I wanted to also express my concern on the cyber infrastructure. As we increasingly see in the news, cyber infrastructure is becoming an increasingly real threat with different systems getting compromised. And I know a big controversy are the flock cameras. I understand that the commitment of the police department for Casa Grande is for safety and not for monitoring, but the recent cyber infrastructure hacks have kind of called in the integrity of the security systems into question. So thank you for your time, and I enjoy being a resident of Casa Grande.
Thank you, Mr. Valencia. And we can't comment, unfortunately, but we can have, if you want to give your information, someone can follow up with you. So if Larry, do you want to get his information on some of the questions that you had? Mm-hmm. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council at this time? No? Okay. So we'll go ahead and close the public comments. And next item on the agenda is I-1, and it looks like, where's the chief? Is that you, chief? Oh, got it, okay. Hi there, Lieutenant.
Well, Mayor, Council, good evening. Staff recommends that the Mayor and Council authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Core Construction for the construction of improvements to the Animal Care and Adoption Center at a guaranteed maximum price of $429,741. This project will involve the installation of new air conditioning units and LED lighting to the kennel. Core Construction originally built this facility in 2009. At that time, the budget only allowed for the installation of evaporative coolers on the kennel. City staff and public visiting the facility have brought up concerns about the heat in the kennel during the hot summer months, and council approved funds to make the upgrade to the air conditioning units. This project is procured under a cooperative job order contract held by the City of Peoria and open for the use to other municipalities. If approved, the long lead items would be able to be ordered to start the process. Construction is slated for the fall to ensure the existing coolers would not be disconnected during the hot summer months. And I also have Ted Hawkins with me in case anybody had any technical questions about the actual construction.
Okay, any questions? Sean?
Yeah, has it been evaluated to see if any kind of, the money would be better spent to add additional kennels or other spaces that would be more efficient for housing additional animals as opposed to spending on air conditioning? And the reason I ask this, I come from the dairy farming background, and we have high-valued animals all over the place, and we've had great success with evaporative cooling, keeping the animals very cool, very safe, and very comfortable. Matter of fact, Arizona is the best climate for evaporative cooling. That's why I ask.
You're going to see me up in the future. I don't know if that's allowable, but in reference a site and needs assessment for the ACO unit as a whole. And that's something I'm looking at, and I'm currently contacting different people to discuss that, where they would actually come out and they're going to look at a needs assessment on what we're going to do. But the conclusion is the kennel is still a good building and rock solid, and that will last for quite a few more years. And any other plans that we have for any other future building or operational needs will be conducted by a company that will be chosen in the future, if approved. And then they'll take a look and see what we need altogether, but they're going to incorporate at a minimum the kennel.
Okay, so are they doubling up animals, or are the animals, are you running out of space? Are you turning animals down?
Well, one of the reasons I'm looking for the needs assessment is due to the fact that for the last year, a majority of the times we're operating at full capacity. We've had a lot of rescues come out and help, especially with the cat room where they recently emptied it out. But the kennels usually remain fairly full, and on occasion, yes, they do get doubled up.
And I would argue that this money be better spent on expansion and, or even tweaking the existing evaporative cooling to making it more efficient and better climate for the animals, as opposed to spending close to $500,000 on air conditioning for the animals. I mean, I love animals. I've been a farmer my whole life. That's not the issue. I'm just saying that evaporative cooling works just great for animals in this climate.
Well, one of the things that we do also have, it is for the animals, but it's also for the staff. And I've personally been in there, and at times we've had both the original evaporative coolers working, along with donated portable evaporative coolers, just to try to keep it tolerable in there, due to the fact when it, well, you know, in July, August, and
you got a
September,
bad month or two out of the year.
You get that, and it's really hard on the animals, but it's also very hard on the staff that are working in there, 10 hours a day.
Do they work in there 10 hours a day? Would it be better to have an isolated, like a split unit, somewhere where the staff is actually working as opposed to feeding and caring for the animals? That way they could cool down? Or are they working 100% of the day in there?
A majority of the times, they're the ones that are assigned the kennel. They're in the kennel all day, due to the fact that they got to be in there pulling animals out, taking them outside, wiping the kennels down, cleaning bowls. So they are, a majority of the time, the ones that are assigned to the actual kennel inside the kennel.
Has there been any evaluation on modern evaporative cooling besides 20-year-old evaporative cooling?
No, we have not looked at that.
That would be really something I would be interested to look into because of the cost of this. I think the money would, this is just my personal opinion, I think the money would be better spent to expand the facilities so we got more room to save more animals and just be more efficient on our cooling and figure out ways to do that because there's a lot of money to spend on air conditioning units. And I do appreciate the staff that works out there that do get hot. But again, I come from a dairy farm background, so I was out there working all day long with the cattle, and all that kind of stuff. And there is ways to cool them down with evaporative cooling.
The other thing that's going to be added to this, and I believe it's roughly 25%, I'd have to double look at it, but it's also the lighting in the kennel that's an issue because the current lighting in there is not sufficient because of the way the lights are positioned. And a lot of times when you got to open an animal cage and you got an animal you're not sure about dealing with, if there's not enough lighting, you can't read that animal's body language.
Point well taken. I don't disagree with the lighting one little bit. That's
Other
my only
questions?
comment.
Okay. Questions, comments? Can you, and Ted, I know you've worked on projects like this, how does it get to that much? I mean, I get it, the air conditioning, and Shauna, and, of course, I've been in there and in the hot months, and, we do get, complaints from we have volunteers that go in there too, and I understand your point on the cost, but unfortunately, things, cost this much now, but I was curious, how does it get to that much, for air conditioning and lighting and,
One of the things we didn't take into consideration when we first started the project, because I am just thinking, hey, it's an AC unit. You just throw an AC unit and you're good to go. But one of the things that I found out is that for animal control or animal facilities, you have to have specific AC units that recirculate at a higher rate. And they need to recirculate at a higher rate to make sure that the air is constantly moving. So you remove lesser chance of sickness, spread of parvo and other diseases. And if you see the more updated facilities, all of them come with those recirculation units, and they even have, separation rooms where there's one room that's completely isolated by an actual secondary AC unit. So any animals that are quarantined, all that air is pulled out and never goes through these others, and that's something we're looking at a future build, but we didn't have the money to do it in this facility because that would have been substantially more.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well, because, when animals start defecating and whatnot in there,
Yeah.
I mean, all that,
The smell
the
and-
smell, not only the smell, but the contaminants that go into the air. And I would argue that evaporative cooling works best for that because it's a single-use air. It flushes the air right through the building and pushes all that air outside as opposed to recirculating inside the building. So that would justify the extra expense with air conditioning to have to filter all that stuff out of the air. But I'm still of the opinion we should look closer at alternatives for evaporative cooling to be more efficient with the tax dollars.
any other questions?
I got a comment. I mean, sounds pretty expensive, but if you look at the scope of work, I mean, we're not just talking about buying AC units, we're talking about demolition, there's some roof work that needs to be done, there's some plumbing that needs to be done, HVAC systems, but then there's also a significant electrical system. So the money's not just going to a couple of AC units.
Yeah.
Right,
There-
right.
It's a pretty definite scope of work.
Hey,
Matt?
Are most of these facilities air conditioned around the state that you found?
I believe the newer ones that I looked at, like in Gila County, it's about 4, maybe 5 years old, I would estimate at this point in time, but yeah, they're going to air conditioning.
And you haven't,
And most of the design companies that are coming out, they are recommending that as part of the build, it is AC. And I would imagine, even though I might not be here, 4, 5, 6 years from now, when we actually are discussing possibly the expansion of animal control, that those buildings are going to, the designers are going to be recommending AC.
and then how much more cost per month or year do you know for the use of the air conditioning versus evaporative cooling?
I've talked to
many about that, and right now, it's kind of a undetermined amount, but it's going to substantially increase our electric bill from what it is now during the summer months.
Did you have a question, Anthony, too?
No.
No?
I would just like to reiterate what I just said, that I would like to see them funds placed toward expansion of the facility, that more kennels, more evaporative cooling. I mean, even if adding fans and misters on exterior kennels with shade and stuff like that, so that way the animals, we could take in more animals and maintain them there and spend that money just a little more efficiently instead of air conditioning. That's going to increase cost, as we just said, and that's just my thoughts on it.
Does the Humane Society have air conditioning at their kennel?
I'm going to pause 1 second. Cerise?
Okay, or Pinell County, do you know about does have air conditioning? Yeah, okay. I was just curious, because I know I've been to both of those facilities, but I just couldn't remember, so.
But
Okay.
again, a majority of new builds are going to be including air conditioning for the kennels.
And guys on the council, I'm just saying this is my background as a dairy farmer. We cool if we don't cool those cows, they die, they won't produce milk, they won't make money.
Yeah.
So they're taking care of the utmost careful, and those are valued animals. So are the animals that are in our
Right.
Humane Society. They're future pets, they're lost animals. They need to be taken care of, but what I'm saying is they don't necessarily need air conditioning. Things can be improved with evaporative cooling to make those dogs and the people comfortable inside there. If we figure out a way to make the airflow, if we did maybe did a study on that to try and figure out ways, or just call somebody and say, hey, how can we move more air more efficiently through our building to make this drop another 10 degrees in here?
So, is there, Larry, can we table it and, maybe get just a little bit more information on the evaporative coolers and, see if there's alternatives? Because I don't know if that was really, there was nothing in our reports that showed that there was those comparisons or anything, but can we? I know, we haven't had it in a long time, so I know we want to, do something, but.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, obviously, council has the prerogative. You can table and instruct us to do some additional studies on the evaporative cooling. I do have a question that I want to, from a timing perspective related to this quote, though, about how much longer it is in effect, because how long was it good for? Do you recall, Ted, off the top of your head?
According to their proposal, the number was good for 15 days.
Okay. So, but ultimately, what that may generate is that we may be back to the general contractor to, if the decision is to use AC units or to install AC units, ultimately, we might have to refresh the proposal that you've seen tonight.
Okay. So, council, do you want to make a?
I would like, Mayor Fitzgibbons will make a motion to table this for the time being.
Second.
Okay. So, let's see. So we can just table this particular item then? We don't need a resolution number, right?
If you just want to table the item, you can certainly do that. The only question I always have is if you want to table it to a date certain or a date uncertain. At this point, I think it's a date uncertain.
Uncertain, yeah.
Okay. So there's been a motion and a second, and do I need roll call or overall? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, so we have one no, all the others aye to table it. So if we can, we'll get back with Larry and kind of discuss how we want to move forward. Okay, thank you. Okay, next item is item I2.
Thank you. Staff recommends that the mayor and city council approve a bridging agreement with Titan Landscape Services through a Paradise Valley Unified School District contract. It's part of the one GPA contract that we've used in the past for piggybacking off of for certain purchases and procurements. And this is for the landscape improvements at the North Operations Center which is in our airport industrial park. Staff identified the need for this landscape improvement to meet, number one, the requirements of our airport industrial park to maintain our improvements there at that site. And these improvements have been there since 2003. Of course, we've maintained what's there, but over the years, the irrigation has failed and some of the plant life has died. So we need to upgrade it so that we can, keep our appearances up. And it also falls right in line with our, upgrading all of our facilities around the city and making sure that we have, putting our best face forward. So the landscape reflected two original primary goals for the project. One was to develop a walking path around the North Operations Center. We looked at the price of that, and we're going to postpone that part of the project and only move forward with the landscape improvements, with the drought-tolerant native vegetation that we can put in around there, as well as upgrading our irrigation system to maintain the new vegetation and the existing vegetation. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So Kevin, you were really getting complaints?
Yeah, that's my question.
I can honestly say I am unaware of the complaint, and I have reviewed this RCA 3 times, and never did I read that line, or maybe my brain said something different. So I have no information about that.
Oh, okay.
I apologize.
Right. Okay, any questions?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I think you said it, but just to be clear, you're going to follow like our new plan with the Save Water program and use it wisely and do all low maintenance, low water.
Yeah, I believe Manny did get with Arizona Water, and they went over the different items, but because we're doing very minimal plant life and they're native species, that they're going to be very drought tolerant, very low water use. Typically, what we do in those situations is you establish the plant life with, the drip systems, and then only use it during those really severe times of the year.
Yeah, it sounds fun. I mean, but we're one of the anchors of the nice airport industrial park, so it's important to put on, a good face as well.
Absolutely.
And like you said, it's old.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, if we can get a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 5929, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a proposal from Titan Landscape Services for the Public Works North Operations Center landscape improvements, authorizing expenditure of public funds, and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Titan Landscape Services.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move that we approve resolution number 5929 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if we can get a roll call vote.
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Badillan?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, next item is we moved K2 up before K1, so we'll start with Scott with K2.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, members of the council, we're asking this evening that you approve the proposed fiscal year 26-27 employee classification plan and the associated aspects of that or impact of that to be effective in the pay period that includes July 1st. It's been our practice over the course of time to present this to council on its own after the adoption of the tentative budget, but typically before the final budget adoption, so that we're able to make the implementation on July 1st, so we don't have to do retro pay in case the council, not the council, but the adoption of the final budget is delayed for some reason. And so that's why we're asking for your action this evening. The market-based compensation system for our employees that we have actually has a very long history. It dates back to probably the 1990s, where we made the transition to looking at comparator entities, other cities and towns that were very similar to us from around the state and also Pinal County, and taking a representative sampling of our position classifications. We call them benchmark classifications, and those are common to other cities and towns. Police officer, secretary, equipment operator, those are very common, and so they basically do the same thing at each community. And we look at, in our system, we look at the midpoint of our pay range and the published midpoint of the pay range for our comparators for those benchmark classifications. And then we see how we compare in terms of competitiveness. And so it's been in place for a very long time. Obviously, over the course of those many years, our ability to do it or to implement it over the years has waxed and waned with economic conditions. Most recently, I think it was back probably around 2008 or so, with the economic downturn, I don't think we kind of turned off the switch, if you will, to the market-based comparisons. And the good news was that everybody was in the same boat we were in, and so the compensation among our comparator entities was remaining fairly constant. But we really think, I can represent to you this evening with a lot of confidence that this approach to our employee compensation has served us well over the course of time. And I think every time that we celebrate someone's retirement, I think that's an affirmation of that we've been able to maintain our competitiveness. And we're kind of uniquely situated. We're not in the metro area, but we're close enough that we're impacted by that. And so we have the metro cities that really do look at each other. And as a matter of fact, there was a time when some of the East Valley cities were actually pricing up percentage to being able to maintain their competitiveness. So what we typically do, and I should add to the history, it had been a number of years in the early 2020s, I guess. There'd been a number of years that this was not able to be done, again, based on economic conditions. So when Larry hired me in 2019, one of the things that was on the table is we need to get back to implementing that system to ensure our competitiveness. As a matter of fact, the strategic plans that the council had approved, and even your current strategic plan, includes the issue of employee competitiveness. Under fiscal stability and sustainability strategic plan goal is to continue to utilize the classification and compensation system to benchmark job description or job positions against the midpoint of the salary range within the market. And so we go out typically and get a consultant that we've worked with over a number of years that works with a lot of our neighbors, and we hire them to come in and take a look at our position classifications. When we did this initially back in 2019 and 2020, we redid all of our position descriptions to make sure that they were accurate and reflected what our employees were actually doing. And then the consultant went out into the marketplace again with our 16 cities and towns in Pinal County and made those midpoint comparisons. We've always had a pay schedule that consisted of pay ranges and steps in the range. And so an employee, every classification is assigned to a pay range. Every employee is assigned to a classification. And then the employee is hired in that range, and then they're able to move through the pay range based on their annual performance evaluation. And that's been our system over this long period of time. And so our pay plan was actually changed back about 2018 or 16, somewhere back there. And it was altered a little bit, and the symmetry that we had, even across this way and even across this way, was changed. Nothing wrong, it just was a little different approach to compensation strategy. And so we've been looking at the composition or the structure of our pay plan over the course of time. And we've also encountered a number of market dynamics, as you might imagine, over the course of time. Some of our competitors tend to be very, very aggressive in the job market and do a lot of adjustments for employees. A couple of our comparators, and particularly even our neighbors, did mid-year market adjustments this last year. And so we're watching that very, very carefully. Our consultant came on board and in the scope of work that we normally do, did their work for us, and they came up with some recommendations. We looked at those recommendations. We also engaged at the executive staff level, and particularly Stephen and Larry and I engaged with looking at the issue of our pay plan, and was this the year to make the adjustment? that might check some of the boxes that are out there on the table in relationship to the amount of time it takes for an employee to top out, the merit increases, the performance-based increases, and what have you. And so we headed down that path and put together the program that was presented to you in our budget retreat that explained the elements of our proposal that we're presenting to you tonight for your approval. And this includes several things. First of all, it includes a 5% general adjustment. And what that means is that our entire pay plan goes up 5%. And that helps, obviously, overall with our competitiveness. It helps check some of the boxes in relationship to the positions that are moving very, very quickly. And we're also proposing that we alter our pay plan and bring back some symmetry. In other words, the pay plan will be 39.5% in width. So uniform, every range is 39.5% in width, and every range is separated by 2.3%. And so it brings a more of a structure. So we're telling our employees that this is going to be, instead of about this amount, it's going to be this amount. And so it brings some reliability to that. Also, based on the foundational elements or recommendations established by the consultant, we're also proposing to move some classifications, specific individual classifications that were shown to be behind the market. And so we're going to be moving those to higher classifications based on the results of the market. I would note at this particular point in time that back in the early days, one of the other factors that we used to do was that we would trend the market data. Think about it for a moment that the major document that was referenced for us looking at everybody else's pay was the annual Arizona League of Cities and Towns salary survey. And that data is reported in the October data, and it's reported to the league, and the league puts that together and publishes it usually in January or February. So we're looking at it for implementation on July 1st. And so what we end up doing is having a lag in the up-to-dateness of the information. And so we used to trend that through the end of the following calendar year. So we didn't lead the market, but we didn't lag the market either. When we put this thing back in place in 2020, we decided not to trend the market. So we know going into this thing that we're using the data from this current year looking ahead to the next year. And most people do that in the budget adoption, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way for a variety of reasons, including some action on mid-year increases that we saw. So there are going to be some range adjustments to individual classifications. And the other thing we're doing here that we're able to do because of the symmetry in the plan is right now our performance increase or our merit increases for our employees are about 3.25%. And so every employee has an annual evaluation that come through and they're eligible for that. And so what we've been able to do is to take a look at this issue of the number of years it takes to top out. When you start at step one, or the entry level, how long it takes you to top out. And we're paid attention to that. And so we're proposing that the new plan establishes 4.25% as the annual performance evaluation linked pay increase. And then finally, back to the pay plan, we have ranges and steps, and we're proposing to move to an open range system where an entry is established, a calculated midpoint, and then a maximum. And once an employee reaches the maximum, then they're maxed out. They're topped out, as we say. And the only increase that they get beyond that is if we do a general adjustment. So what this means is if an employee starts at the entry level step and they get a scheduled increase, first one coming at their probationary evaluation, then annually after that, if someone is in the Arizona State retirement system, it would take 7.5 years to top out because their probationary period is 6 months. For uniforms, or those that are in the public safety retirement system, they serve a 1-year probationary period because they're typically in an academy setting, and then they're coming out into either field training officer or on a truck in the station. And so they serve 1 year. And And the only other difference is our communication people do as well. And so their top-out period is 8 years. So that's kind of how the new program looks like. So we're taking a bit of a big swing, but really feel like that the economic conditions and the market conditions right now are such that it makes sense to us to propose this to you. And so I realize I'm giving you a second explanation, but for the purposes of those that might be watching at home, hi, Mom, why? I thought I would go over that again. And so if you approve this evening, you will be approving, you'll be authorizing us to apply the 5% general adjustment. You'll be approving the revised pay plan, the classification plan, which reflects the range adjustments for individual classifications, the pay plan as I've described to you, and moving the merit from about 3.25 to 4.25. So those are the boxes we're checking with this action this evening. So with that, I'll try to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, questions. I know we went through this a little bit, but are there any? Bob?
So I think I'm adding it up correctly, and that's wonderful. You've got employees that are likely to get, or well, they will get the 5% adjustment, and if they're entitled and earn a merit raise, they'll get an additional 4.25.
Councilmember Hudson, you're right. And the other thing that we're able to do by going to an open range system is that, as you'll see in the next item, the normal merit is expressed at up to 4.25. So if through the performance evaluation, the rater, supervisor, department director doesn't see the merit of a 4.25, they're able to get less than that.
Yeah.
We don't really have that ability right now because we have steps.
Okay.
So I didn't mention that, but you're exactly right, and your math is correct.
Okay, well, I think that's wonderful.
That your math is correct.
It's a lot of money. But employees, we have the best employees in the state here in the city. And I remember a lot of years when we didn't have anything to give, and we didn't, but a lot of employees have stuck with us through all that time. I'm also glad that you went a little bit farther than our normal to the East Valley cities, which I know their compensation tends to be a lot more than ours, but at least you put that in the comparison, because I've heard from employees and I've talked to people and they're like, I can drive 30 minutes and make a lot more money, but I would rather stay here in Casa Grande. So this is a way to keep them, because also, as we have employees, it costs a lot of money to onboard an employee, and retain an employee than just, it's better to retain them than to keep having to hire new employees. So I agree with this. I'm glad you guys got it worked out and but like explain this to us very well so that we can understand. So I can agree with it. It's good money, but it's important to keep our city running as we go through a lot of this growth process as well.
Any other questions? Scott, I had a question. Can you tell me, so on the range adjustment, how many positions qualify for that?
The number is, it's actually going to be 35 classifications, 35. Not 34.
Out of how many, did you say?
130,
yeah.
140.
Okay.
And Mayor, I might add, it's very common in the smaller the organization, the more likely you are to have what we call single incumbent classifications, specialization. I mean, we only have one city manager, we only have one, but there are a number of other classifications that we just have one person doing that. We have one budget analyst position, we have one library manager position, one airport manager position. So we have a number of single incumbent classifications, and many of these, of the 35, tend to be those that are in the single incumbent classifications, although there are some there that the most impactful dollar-wise are obviously the one that has the most employees.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So as far as moving forward, because of course, like you said, it's a lot of money. Obviously, it's an investment in our employees. We want to make sure that we are maintaining that. But as far as every year, this, I'm just concerned about this happening every year. I think that, Larry, I think we talked about it, that it's in our, not policy, but that it's something that we evaluate every year and do a study. But if we're gonna make these adjustments every year, it's hard because we were talking about it, it's like leapfrog with every city. One city raises it, then the other city, and then the other city, and it just gets out of control. And how do we keep up with all of this? So I feel that it is a pretty high increase. I know we have a business and we're not giving that increase to our employees, every year. So I just want to see what your thoughts are on moving forward. Is this what we're going to have to face again next year? Or do you think this will get us through a couple of years? To have 34 classifications that we have to adjust, it's still a high number. How do we get to 34 positions? And you explained it a little bit, but I just want to make sure in the future, how are we going to move forward with these adjustments? And is this a standard and an expectation that we're going to have to, follow through in the years to come?
I'll go ahead and start. The fact of the matter is that the years that we were not able to do very much, many of those years where we were not able to fund the merit program, for example, we did a general adjustment, or we did a general adjustment and did not do any range adjustments so that we could maintain a relative competitiveness because everything was going up. Because of some of the dynamics in some of our comparators, and I won't name names, but they're in East Valley, and some in the West Valley.
Yeah.
The fact is that the 5% is a bit of a big swing, and we really, let me back up a little bit. I think I said to you last year that we really felt like we had caught up. After implementing in 2020, I really felt like we caught up last year. And then we did the study. And so, but these things are all sensitive to economic conditions and our ability to fund them. We get the same comments sometimes about an employee who gets topped out. So if somebody been here for 7.5 or 8 years under our new system, and well, there's no more for me. There's no more incentive, if what have you. And the fact is that I have a little speech that I have. Is no one has promised any of us raises into infinity. Every employee has infinite value, but every job has finite value. And we just have to recognize that. And we look for ways, our departments do things on their own to express their appreciation to their employees on a regular basis. We celebrate, we're going to be, next month, we're going to be doing our quarterly service award program that hopefully you all will be able to attend, where we celebrate service milestones and recognize those employees, the results of our trying to take care of our employees financially. And so we do those things as well. But your point is well taken, and so it's very much subject to our ability to really handle it today and in the future. And with that, I'll turn that over.
And Madam Mayor, members of the council, if I can, I want to go back to the comment that Councilman Huddleston made, and I want to go back to a comment that Councilman Herman made during the tentative budget, because there's no doubt that salaries are, wages are one of the highest costing components of a service organization in a government. And we recognize that. And really what our goal was, I think many of you remember this when we went to this system. Number one, it's maintaining a competitiveness and for our wage scales. And ultimately, the process that we're utilizing with these 17 other entities, it really gives us a good balance between some of the valley cities as well as some of the more rural cities that are in our population base. That's what really drove that. That's something that we certainly try to look at every year and bring back to the mayor and council for your consideration. But at the same time, it was always a key goal that we needed to develop a plan that ultimately was financially sustainable. And certainly we understand that. We are surprised from time to time when we see the wages that other entities are paying, to Scott's point. But back to the 5% point, what I want the council to recognize is that the general adjustment that's being recommended this year is really, we evaluate that each year, right? We don't just generally give a 5% general adjustment. We did not give that last year. It was in the vicinity of 2.5%. We did not give that the year before. And so we let the market drive that. And one of the reasons that drove us to the 5% general adjustment this year is the number of positions that when we got the assessment back, the analysis back, we saw that the lion's share of our positions were off the market by 5%. And so there's really two ways to achieve the balance. You can give a general adjustment, which is what's being recommended, and you bring the majority of the positions back into alignment, the 130 positions, and then we attack the market component, the 32 positions that Scott is talking about. Ultimately, we address that with a general adjustment. Or with a market adjustment, excuse me. So I guess the message that I want to leave the council with is we understand that it's a sizable allocation of funding that goes to salaries. I think you're going to find that to be very typical in most governmental entities when you compare that to the revenue streams. The 5% general adjustment is something that gets evaluated every year, and to Scott's point, there may be years that we don't do a general adjustment. It really is going to be driven by how far we are off the market for all of our positions. But in the end goal in all of this is to actually develop competitive wages, and I'm sure all of you hear about this from time to time. I know we do in our office, that we can drive up the road and make another $20,000, and I don't know that this system will ever stop that, right? But ultimately the evaluating annually has worked best for us. It's certainly something that we can continue to evaluate. Whether or not other cities do it every 5 years, if you will, we typically do it we look at the market every year. But certainly we can have that dialogue with the mayor and council. But ultimately, the recommendation that Scott has made is one that was really data-driven. It's one that we know it does not put the city of Casa Grande at the highest pay scale within those comparators because of the mix of the cities that we have. It really puts us in the middle. So we're not a leader. I know that some cities, there's one just right to the north of us that ultimately says they're going to be the highest paying city, and their salaries reflect that. But understand, Madam Mayor and council members, we recognize as a staff that this has to be financially sustainable in the long term, and we really drive for that in our recommendations.
Mayor, I'd like to add just a little bit, that we never look at compensation in a vacuum, because the whole compensation package transcends certainly the actual paycheck, speaks to the issue of benefits. And we are victims of the insurance market out there right now. You all got information about that, and we're looking at a pretty substantial increase for our employees, our share as well as our employees' share. Plus the fact that there's other fringe benefits that are involved. And council, remember, we were choking on the rate that we had to pay for public safety retirement. And several years ago, you all took the huge step of issuing about $60 million in debt to buy down our unfunded liability and public safety retirement, both on the police and the fire side, and being able to realize those savings, and they're playing out year to year. And in July, I'll be bringing to you our annual look at that whole package, accepting the actuarial numbers from both of those plans, and you'll be seeing that again. And Councilmember Huddleston will be looking at those numbers and be asking me questions, no doubt, because he does every year. But it's not in a vacuum, and there's other, when we look at costs, they're all in costs that are more than that. So we certainly appreciate your comments and understand that, and can make a note that perhaps we get into it a little earlier with a little bit more in detail, so that maybe a little bit more goes down up front.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? So I think this is just a motion to approve, right? So if we can get a motion to approve the classification plan.
So move.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so now we're at item K1.
And very quickly, we're asking you to approve the June 2026 City of Casa Grande Personnel Policy Amendments. This goes hand in glove with the action you just took. Our personnel policy has some language relating to this, and so very minor changes, but they need to be made so that we're not violating our policy, and it makes it clear about what's going on here. So those are noted on the attachment that you have, and we need to get those approved in order to bring us into full compliance starting in pay period, which begins July 1st.
Okay. So I think we need a resolution number.
Resolution number 5930, a resolution of the mayor and the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, authorizing the June 2026 policy amendments to the city of Casa Grande personnel policy.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move that we approve resolution number 5930 as presented.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dillon?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, item L1. Brenda.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. The item before you tonight is to hold a public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget and the proposed tax levy, including a truth in taxation requirements related to the primary tax rate, and consider the approval of a resolution relating to the truth in taxation for fiscal year 26-27. After the public hearing as required by Arizona Revised Statute 42-1707.4, the council will be asked to adopt, by a roll call vote, a resolution relating to the truth in taxation property tax levy to meet the requirements of that particular statute. On May 4th, the mayor and council adopted the fiscal year 26-27 tentative budget in the amount of $357,858,858,032. As required by Arizona Revised Statute Title 42, Article 3, the tentative budget was published twice in the local paper, and a public hearing on the budget and proposed primary property tax levy was scheduled for tonight's meeting, June 1st, 2026. Council will not be asked to vote on the actual levy of taxes or approval of the budget tonight, with both of those items scheduled to take place on June 15th, 2026. The final budget documents represent the information that has been presented to council to date, with no changes to the total amount budget being proposed from that presented at the May 4th meeting and as published. As proposed and advertised, the primary property tax rate would remain the same as fiscal year 2026 at 0.9643 per $100 of assessed value. The total primary property tax levy being proposed for fiscal year 26-27 is $6,239,577. The proposed primary property tax on a home valued at $100,000 will be $96.43, which is the same rate and tax for a home valued at $100,000 from the previous fiscal year. If the city maintained its existing total tax levy amount as opposed to the rate, the expected primary property tax on a home valued at $100,000 would have been $94.66, represents an increase of $1.77 for a home valued at $100,000 for a net increase of 1.87%. Although the primary property tax rate is not being increased from FY26, the total amount expected to be collected through the primary property tax, excluding then that from new construction is more than the amount the city received last fiscal year by $111,000. The proposed secondary property tax rate, which is set to ensure that the city has sufficient funds to make payments on the bonded indebtedness approved by the voters, is 1.1291. The proposed secondary property tax rate for fiscal year 26-27 is an increase of 0.7137 from the prior fiscal year, and that is related to the new bond that was passed by the voters. The actions being requested tonight are to conduct the budget and property tax truth and taxation hearing, and after that, by a roll call vote, approve a resolution of intent to levy the proposed primary property taxes by ordinance on or after June 15th, 2026. With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Did you have something, Larry?
Madam Mayor, the mayor and council may have some questions, but I was going to ask Ms. Hasler if she wouldn't mind talking a bit about the truth and taxation notice in the context to our primary property tax levy, it being the same, but ultimately the need to do that.
Yeah, and what drives the need for the truth and taxation hearing is the amount of the levy going up. Yeah, and that's the $111,945 that is an increase. But they take the net assessed values and they look at the values in relation to that rate, and they take out any of the value associated with new construction. And that portion of the levy from new construction is $138,204 for next fiscal year, so.
So bottom line, no tax increase in the primary tax, it's just because the assessed values are higher. So the
Correct.
levy is higher, that's why we had to go out and do the truth and taxation. Okay, got it. Simple terms here.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions, comments? No questions, comments? Okay, so this is a public hearing, so if anyone would like to come forward and address the council and staff on this item, now is the time to do so. Anyone like to speak? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and move forward, and if we can get a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 5931, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, relating to the truth and taxation for fiscal year 2026 to 2027.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move approval of resolution number 5931.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ramo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Harmon?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Badillon?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, we moved up reports before we go into the executive session. So how about if we start with you?
No
Brett?
reports.
All right, okay, good. Bob?
No,
Anything
no
to report?
reports.
Sean, anything to report?
No reports, but I do not hate animals, by the way. Love animals, just everybody knows.
Okay, no.
I have just a couple quick things. Secretary of State Fontes came here, and while politics aside, he had a really good thing for our city. He brought out business services to people, talked about notaries, forming LLCs, corporations, and he's doing it around the state. His was one of the first ones. He's a great speaker, great guy, and was really trying to help people. If you had questions about your businesses or anything, or trademarks or anything like that, they do it right here. And I actually learned a lot from it too. Not actually, but I learned a lot from it. It was a good session, and quite a few people here. So that was pretty neat. We appreciate them remembering that there's just not the great state of Maricopa County, but also other people in the state of Arizona that need services. And I had the honor of speaking at the Pace High School inaugural graduation. So it was very neat to see. It's a smaller high school at the district office there, and it was really neat to see the kids. There were 6 graduates, and they all had their stories, and it was neat because they got to recognize each one. And they had been through a lot to get there, and they were very, very excited to be graduating. It was quite a sight to see, and lots of families cheering. So it was a great thing. And as compared to Lisa, I only had to shake 6 hands, and I know you had to shake a lot more hands than that at the graduations you went to. But I was very honored to speak there, and it's a neat thing for our community to have that school there, just to see those kids, and they were so proud to graduate that night. So
That's nice.
that's it.
Thanks for going. Anthony?
I was honored to speak at Pep Tech graduation, 17 students. So 6, 17, we're growing. It was an honor just to be there. And congratulations to all of our graduates here in Casa Grande. We had a busy month of May at all the graduations, and so thankful for that. I wanted to say, Mary did a wonderful job of speaking at Dick Powell's memorial service, which was well attended. And I just wanted to say that when I decided to run for city council, he's the first person that I went to. The reason being is that he had served this community and on the council for many, many years. And if he was going to run for re-election, I was not going to put my name in there. But I did go to him, and he says, if you're going to run, I'm retired. And so I said, I will. And so I'm just so thankful for the relationship that I have with him, as well as the Powell family. I'm going to keep them in our prayers. They're going through a trying time now. And I'm just so thankful for the outpour of our community, of one of our representatives that have served our community very, very well, of businesses and just back Casa Grande, period. And so thankful to the life of Dick Powell.
No reports. Besides being summertime. huh?
Yes.
Summer for all our teachers and schools. As far as reports, yes, it's been a really, the last couple of weeks have been crazy with all the graduations, award ceremonies, and everything going on. But I'll tell you, it just reminds you of how valuable, it is, that just the students, people coming out of our school systems. I, was able to go to Casa Grande Union and Vista Grande's graduation. I think Casa Grande Union got $6 million in scholarships for their students. Vista Grande was right about that same. And believe it or not, Mission Heights, even though they're way smaller than those other two schools, also had about $6 million in scholarship offers to their 140 or so students. So just really impressed with the caliber of the students that are coming out, and just so thankful for all the teachers and everyone that has supported these kids. But yes, Casa Grande, I shook every graduate, and that was, I think, 380. It was about 380, so literally my hand at the end was like, oh man, So Vista Grande, they split us up, so I didn't have to do that. So, and I enjoyed Casa Grande Middle School. I went and spoke at their promotion, and it was really fun because I went there and I was a wildcat, and so it was really neat to speak to those students. That was a lot of fun. So as far as city stuff, I just wanted to, I know our PIO team is getting information out on the new billing system for the trash and sewer. That goes into effect on July 6th. So to all of our residents, you'll be getting a flyer in the mail that kind of gives details on, what to do. The finance department's going to be closed from the 29th through the 10th while the new system is brought online. And so they just want to make sure people know that if you're unable to pay your June bill before the transition, you can pay it through the new portal on July 6th without any late fees. And the finance staff is going to be hosting a training session at Vista Grande Library in July. So just a reminder to all our residents that there is a new billing system, and you'll be getting this information in your bill. So, so be getting all that, but you can also go on the website and to learn more on casagrandeaz.gov/billing if you want more information on that. And I'll be sharing more information at the next city council meeting. So, services for Dick, it was a beautiful celebration of life for someone that, has done so much in our community and served for so long here at the city. And just welcome summer to everyone, to all our residents, to all of our staff. I'm sure community services is just like gearing up, for everything, all the different activities that are going on. I love driving by the pool and seeing all, everyone there and, all the activity that's going on at the pool and as well as the rec center and everywhere else. So, so thank you to all the, community services and all the staff for preparing for the summer, busy time. And with that, I'll go
Mayor?
ahead. Yes.
Would you mind introducing the new employee before?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, I thought you were going to do that,
Well,
Larry.
I forgot at Call of the Public, Mayor. I apologize. That's-
I know. So where'd she go?
Yeah.
Oh, she left. Oh, shoot, you guys. So we have a new management analyst. Is that the actual title? Her name is Doris Menza, and she just started with us today. She's going to be in the city manager's office. She's a U of A grad, so U of A. Pardon? Want to balance it. So we're happy to have her, and she was here almost the whole meeting, and so she stepped out. So hopefully next time you're in the city manager's office, make sure you pop in and introduce yourself to her. Oh, I'll go ahead and adjourn we need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second?
A motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming.